Hi traders, if you are trading now in the last months in the markets, either if it's Forex, either if it is gold, Nasdaq, basically anything, you might observed that the markets are kind of in a way that we have never seen them before. For example, as you know, I am trading, coding, and engineering new patterns, new equations, functions, indicators, like now for 24/7. And yeah, maybe you are seeing it on my face. I maybe look older, or not, because I actually cut my beard. But so the last months the markets became just completely unpredictable, and there are a couple of analyses, like reports and studies why. And in this video I am not going to go into them, because they are like, it is kind of obvious, at least the basics, and if you are interested in it, I am going to go into it in another video, the statistics, the numbers, the interest rates cuts, and all of those things. But the main issue here, and why the markets are completely different, there are a couple of things that are the basics, that are the main forces behind this whole change. And that is, first of all, that the world is really changing rapidly. And by world I mean the whole revolution for humans, where we are creating something that, you know, that we hope and we fear is going to be smarter, more intelligent, stronger, wiser than us, that is kind of going to tell us what we should do, that is going to tell us results to diseases, to problems to solve, that we want to solve, that that we don't know how it figured it out. We want all this, but we also fear of it. And now I am talking about AI. You know, I think everybody understands. So what we want to do is basically to create our God. And there's no issue with that, because the a huge part of the world now is considering, you know, itself like religionless, and it is completely normal. And based on human evolution, it is insanely tough to live like that. And it is just because we are kind of hard-coded to you know, take a look at things and assume why they are there, what is happening, what is going to happen, you know, after we leave the earth, you know, when we die. And when there is something that we can't answer, we still find answers for that, and that is great. So the part of the world that is really not believing in anything anymore, or, you know, in these kind of things, these explanations to things that we don't understand as humans, Um, there is one thing that even this part, I wouldn't say this part of the world, this part of the human race, but generally it is a certain part of the world. So I didn't say something very, false as for statistic are going. So as I am watching this whole thing turning out, I was really like, I started smiling like now that, man, I just realized, like, yeah, humanity, at least many people who are not believing in anything anymore, just want to create something that they can believe in. And when I was, I am talking to people, I am looking at the internet, new trends and everything, and it is really a thing. People are praying to the AI. They expect answers from the AI to every single problem they have. And they really, in high levels as well, everybody wants the AI systems and, okay, don't go into the technical parts, but to basically to be able to answer things, and it is the goal that humans can't really understand anymore how it happened, how it figured it out. And now we are not at that point, but as based on predictions, quite accurate predictions, because it is not so far in the future, if everything is going in this exponential pace, it is going to be around 3 or 4 years until some optimistic or pessimistic predictions are saying that it is going to be around 2 years, which we are going to see that the AI systems, or one AI system, the most intelligent AI system, is going to be able to generate new ideas in a way that it is so innovative that humans can't really figure out how it figured it out. And so after a while, humans are just going to ask questions like, and I am not just meaning now regular humans, but the highest, even humans with the highest intelligence, knowledge, the group of individuals with the highest amount of technology, they are just going to, we as a humanity are just going to ask questions from the AI, and we are going to want to have answers that, and we are completely going to believe what the AI is saying. Now, I am not saying everybody, but now we are seeing a shift where people really started to believe AIs, and it is very, I don't know if I should say dangerous, but it is just the same as with everything that huge masses believe in. It becomes quite interesting, and so we are going to have issues with AI, like it is developing by what we are feeding into it, and of course it is highly regulated, otherwise it is interesting. But even then, we are going to have some interesting issues in the future, if you think about it a little bit. And so this is one thing, like, we as humans, we are creating our God, and it's awesome, but it is going to literally take so much of the jobs today. Of course, you can say those jobs are not really important, but man, I wouldn't say that, because many people are not, they don't really like programmers, like, they don't do anything, they just make money and stuff, like in many countries, or so yeah, maybe programmers, and I am not saying everybody, it's no way, but a huge amount of programmers. And if you are taking a look at the job market now and a few years ago as a programmer, whew, it's crazy. And it is because even though it is only like, it's a very, very rapid evolution, and after a while we are going to only need people who are managing the AIs and these kind of stuff, but those jobs, like, you know, it is going to take out 1,000 jobs and there is going to be one really high paying job. And it is also very normal. It happened with every automation. If you take a look back at history, it happened many times. You know, manual labor got replaced by robots, you know. Even some basic tools are robots, or automated systems, let's just say that, because robots, you know, how we interpret it, this means. So but this whole thing, I'm not going to go into huge detail, because I could talk about it for literally 3.5 hours just while I'm sitting here. So this is one thing that is changing the entire world, all of the industries, the markets, the global economic landscape in an immense way, in a huge way, in a monstrous way that that we can't really stop, or we shouldn't stop. And but we have to prepare that the markets are going to reflect that this chaos that is now just forming. This is one thing, without going into the details. Now the second thing is, of course, we are humans, we are chaotic, we are completely selfish, and as it was all the time in the past, we are having wars with each other. We are having so many wars that we might heading, you know, into another world war. It is completely possible. If you take a look at studies, how like with the patterns, how these are forming, it is very alarming. Now we have a little bit more intelligence. We form unions, and all kind of treaties with each other as nations. You know, I am just with the V, I am talking about humanity, basically. Not like I made a treaty with, I don't know, Germany, you know. But the past is really haunting many nations. Many nations got left out from the, you know, from the huge opportunities that others got. There are insane differences in the world. If you traveled, or if you are just, you know, like, if you just like statistics, but if you traveled, you see it with your own eyes. There's huge differences. And if you really think about it, it is just completely crazy how we evolved so much technologically, but our brains are still in a very premature state. And I am not saying this like as a bad thing necessarily. It is normal, because the human evolution now is pretty rapid, but of course there are hard-coded like constants that are not really constants. They are variables in the human brain, because in you know, in time they are going to also change, but now they are feeling like they are hard-coded. And what I'm saying is, there are things from all of our ancestors, our survival, because most of the things that you are enjoying now are made in the last 3-4 decades. It is insane. And most of, like, more broadly, in a broader sense, like that you are using, most of the things, most of the human advancements, and I am talking about socio-economic and technological, are invented in the last 2 3 or maybe 400 years, but that is a little bit far. So let's just say in the last 100, maybe 200 years, it was so huge, the advancement of the human race, that we almost killed the planet a few times, of course, with all this. But we are regulating ourselves, which is crazy a little bit. So, and technologically, the advancement was very, very rapid. And in the way as we are thinking, in the basic instincts, they are not very advanced at this point. They are completely animalistic. Because, and this is why I told you the years, kind of, because it takes thousands and even 10,000s of years to override this. Now, based on studies, it can also speed up relative to how the advancements are speeding up and our environments, but it is the truth. We are still cavemen. Maybe I am more of a caveman than you are, but I am saying, even on a brain function level, even though the general intelligence of the world, the average, it really is now stagnating. It reached a point a few years back, which was kind of the top. Who knows what is going to happen, but now it is kind of stagnating in, like, I'm not going to go into this neither, but this is the other thing. We are having wars, and they are destroying lives, the planet. They leave trauma behind, they leave destruction behind, and they leave things behind that are going to, and now they are not over. We are just heading into the huge ones, but they are going to really set us back. So this is also represented in the markets. Nobody knows what is going to happen. Nobody knows. Nobody fucking knows what is going to happen. Everybody is just like, oh yeah, the gold is going to go up, and then the gold it stops. It stops going up, and all the gold robots, for example, in the markets, they are suffering because nobody knows what is going on. I am reading all the studies and the goals, everything of the, for example, German hedge funds, and many of those goals for gold trading that they had as optimistic goals and predictions at the beginning of the year or last year, for this year, for 2025, they already are reached. So the question is, like, what is going on? Because so many patterns are breaking, so many structures in trading are completely useless now. Even the bigger philosophies of trading, and even very disciplined traders are getting washed away by the markets, by huge manipulation, huge spikes, by automated trading, by huge institutions that are legally basically manipulating the markets, market makers, and it is now a huge hunt which many retail traders are falling. They are basically praised. It was the case all of the time, but now it is insane. Trends are like non-existent really on many of the assets, and these phenomena that are, I wouldn't say black swan events, but the things that are happening only in twice a decade and stuff, they are now happening in twice a week in the markets, which is crazy. These technical and price action based like phenomena that usually they can't, like, shouldn't happen, just only, you know, 2 or 3 times in a decade now are happening multiple times, and nobody understands what is going on. And it is because of the things I am telling you. Also, of course, there is a huge shift which is asserting. There's a huge shift in the world economically. The new US presidency is making new rules, regulations. They are shaping the global economy in a huge way, and we don't know. We can only speculate what is going to happen, who is going to come out on top of all this. And it is not just one factor, it is a ton of factors on top of each other, because there now the world is not just one pole like the US and that's all. There are economies in the world now that became insanely powerful, and so it is kind of like it is like completely, how would I say, it's linear. It is kind of linear from the, if you take a look at all the human history, that humans want to know who is more powerful, and they are not going to give up the fight. So the economies are now trying, really trying each other. Really, they are testing the voters, who is going to give up, who is going to stay strong. And with all the aging population in the Western world, it is going to be very interesting, because there is no solution now that is working, and nobody knows what are the solutions. And it is just another thing which is huge, which is going to be huge in the future, but nobody is taking it really seriously in a way. So I think it is just the way the market is going to be for a while now. So what we should do is to be very, and I am not saying this many times, but we should be very reactive. I am more reactive now than ever. I am working on the robots and new systems. I went a little bit crazy. So I am working on them a lot, believe me. It's crazy. And I am going to actually announce the new update. Actually, there is going to be a new structure for all my EAs. A structure that includes huge updates to the money management systems, to the dynamic exit systems, to features that you have never seen before. I am really working on it for a long time. And all of the EAs are going to get this structure, both, or not both, because it is free, for MT4, MT5 and cTrader. And they are going to get this new structure, and in that there are going to be the different strategies, different ways of trading, different styles, different time frames. They are going to be, of course, but the structure is going to be the same. So you are going to have, I want to establish a brand where if you bought one of my EAs, you already know the basic settings that you want to adjust, like an operation system. And of course, the robots themselves are going to be completely different as engines, but the user experience is going to be similar. But it's not even the important part. The important part is that there are going to be some very exciting parts in these robots that I'm not going to announce now, but very soon. And I highly recommend for you, if you are a trader, to, if your strategy worked for years and it is not working now, I'm going to be completely honest. You know what to do. You are a trader. You know how to be profitable. Just start to establish and create your strategy from the scratch. And believe me, you are going to be much better off than most traders in these markets, because I think most traders are really hoping that the markets are going to get back to normal, and they might not. There's a couple of reasons why, which I'm not going to get into. This video is huge, but what you should do, I think, is what I am doing. I let my ego on the table and I started coding again like crazy. And now I am, not secretly, but in the background, I am live testing multiple of my new algorithms compared to the, not the old ones. I published updates in January, and since January the market's changed like crazy. So not old ones, but the previous generation of my codes. And the new ones are, they started to prove why it can be beneficial to just let your ego and start with, not with a blank page, because you know so much about the markets, about, if you are a coder, you know, about EAs, about everything. But as for dynamic exits are price action patterns, how strict your measurements should be, you should really think, because I think we as traders and coders, we can really fall into the trap that, because I am doing this for every day, so I am used to numbers, I am used to kind of like similarities between and patterns, and I realized that I got a little bit comfortable, and now I can't let myself to be comfortable. That is why I am here in the jungle. So I hope you could take away something from this video, some encouragement that if your EAs are not doing great now, you can really change. You can really elevate your systems now better than ever before, because now you have the, you know, the opportunity to learn the most about the markets, because that happens when you are kind of losing, or you are not feeling good about your EAs and the markets. So yeah, the most amount of learning is not going on when you are profitable. Then you are just going to sip a cocktail on Jamaica, you know. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Ciao.